Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, a place where you can learn about body language, nonverbal communication, and how to read the minds of others purely by observing their behaviours and gestures. Keep it nice and simple. We don't go into any scientific jargon. We just lay it out as it is and as it should be, and for you to observe straight away in the real world these behaviours and understand as to where they stem from and what it means. We're going to continue today with a topic such as we've been doing for the past few videos. It's regarding the attraction signals common with women. Alright, so when a woman shows sexual interest to some degree. If you like what you hear, click like, click subscribe, and by the end of it, if you have any comments or any situations where you yourself have personally experienced this, leave a comment. So we've covered this topic before. I will try to approach it from a different perspective this time to sort of switch it up a bit. We're talking about the exposed wrists today, okay? So the exposure of the wrists, right? An interesting way, not an interesting, but potentially she's interesting, but an interested woman will, expose the soft and sensitive and delicate underside of the wrist, okay, to a potential dominant suitor. Alright, as her interest within the individual grows, there may be more exposure rather so than little glimpses. She may completely offer herself through the exposure of the wrist. Okay, it's a highly erotic area because it's very delicate and fragile, and the usage of the feminine wrist is incredibly sexy when utilized. Alright, so a woman may splash a little bit of perfume on there if she's going out for a date, so it may release a positive female fragrance. Alright, it's a sign of submission, so it involves itself within the dance of the submissive and the dominant, the feminine and the masculine. And we ourselves, when we don't feel comfortable around potential predators, we won't expose these areas out of this biological survival mechanism, which ensures we need to stay safe, okay? Because obviously if somebody was to harm your wrists, or I don't want to get too graphic, but you can imagine some things can go wrong when it comes to the safety of the wrist area. So we keep them covered around potential predators. Alright, so a real world application would be the sleeves. You'll see the sleeves acted a lot. If somebody's wearing a big jumper or so on and so forth in communication, you can see the sleeves either get pulled up when you start communicating in a particular manner, or you might see the sleeves pulled down to cover up. If you're being a bit sort of overt or distasteful in your communication, okay? I will get into more personal, examples in a moment. So this is operated on a unconscious level. Okay, so the individual in particular might not necessarily be consciously aware that they're doing so, unless they are, a little bit of a seductress and are aware as to what it signifies and so forth. Alright, when the palms of the wrist, or the undersides of the wrist are showed, the palms tend to come along. So the hands and the palm signifies submission and creates a comfort within interpersonal relationships. When we expose our palms to people, it subconsciously sends a signal that we come in peace, because we're not holding weaponry, we haven't got our hands balled into a fist, and we're not oppressively, symbolically pushing down on that individual, such as when you consider the Nazi salute symbolic signal of power and oppression. It's a downwards facing palm, so when you flip that upwards, what you get is a giving, charitable, submissive palm gesture. Okay, so when you're in communications with such, if you're going for a job interview or trying to appease those in powerful positions, or genuinely just being friendly and you know, conversing in a nice open way, you want to implement as much as them open palm gestures as possible. All right, so that was a byproduct of the exposure of the wrist, the showcase of the palms. All right, so I was speaking to a girl, or meeting a girl, who wasn't in position to expose her sexual availability to me out of respect of other people in her life. Okay, very respectable, but, and this is how it, you know, will affect your life, learning this information, the body will still tell you the truth within moments. So verbally, and as far as, you know, the expression and so forth on this individual's face, nice and neutral, nonchalant, just getting along with each other, right? Yet the person then rolls the sleeve up only on one wrist, exposing a soft inside of her wrist. And what she does then is she then stretches over to put her hand on like the tabletop, right? Kitchen top. And while still in communication, she's randomly pulled that one sleeve up, exposing the wrist, put the palm down onto the top of the kitchen, you know what I mean, where you cut up food and stuff, just by the sink, the kitchen top, and had the wrist facing outwards, okay, towards me. It was unnecessary, but it was a bold signal of submissive femininity. Okay, and this was like quite a small girl, of age, may I mention, but you know, like a small feminine female, and who was essentially in display of showcasing, you know, the female to my masculine. When you're speaking atop a counter, such as I have as of recent, you'll be speaking to an individual and then they might lean in, which is also, you know, significant of attraction, because what does attraction mean? It means that you're attracted and you come together. So I was in conversation regarding, you know, this thing or the other atop a shop counter. The individual leans in to continue talking, but in doing so, both of the palms, such as the kitchen top, connect to the edge of their side of the counter as they lean in, exposing the wrist of both sides, okay? A very sensitive and open position, alright? Because if I was of a potential threat, that individual would step away for a start and would have their palms either by them sides or still on the top of the counter, but wrists facing backwards towards themselves. But this person had actually contorted themselves to have their wrists outwards and put the palms of the hands facing me. If you know where I'm coming from, alright? Hopefully I painted that picture well enough, you know what I mean? I'm sure you can make it up in your mind's eye. Might not be the great in you know, creating a verbal illustration, but you know, the point still stands. The exposure of the wrist is a attraction signal when it comes from women, and it works on a subconscious basis, so pay very strong attention to it, alright? Because the wrist can be easily concealed, so when it's shown, it tends to be purposeful, alright? Now I hope this was of benefit. I hope you learnt something. I hope there's some real world value in there for you. I mentioned in a video of the past that I saw a phallic display attraction signal from a woman through watching a dating program. If you are interested in body language, I would recommend watching dating programs, okay? Because there's such a surge and influx and constant, you know, flow of very energetic body language display in these programs that are very interesting. If you have aught to say, leave a comment. Goodbye.